Hello everyone, welcome to the Suzuki RYA Dinghy Show. Big thank you to the RYA for actually taking the initiative and doing this. I think we all thought that the Dinghy Show would not actually happen this year. We're not actually at Farnborough, which is a huge shame, but let's look forward to doing that next year. So what we're going to try and do today is what we've done for the last 15 years at the Dinghy Show, and actually do live boat repair demonstrations. We're in our workshop in the Forest of Dean. Luckily for us, it's a lovely day, so it's actually quite warm here. But we're actually going to, technology allowing, we're going to try and show you how we would actually undertake simple repairs, common repairs on quite a few on different classes of boat that will actually help you, give you the guidance and the confidence to actually try and do some of these things yourself at home, no problem at all. I'm very fortunate today. I've actually got Matt and Grant with us, who are the skilled part of the operation to do the actual repairing. My stepdaughter Chloe's actually doing all the camera work and doing all the online side. My wife Penny is sat in the office at the moment, actually handling all of the chat messages coming in for yourself. If during any of this we're doing it, you actually have got something you would actually like to ask us and actually get clarified, please send Penny a quick chat message and we'll try and answer it as we go along. Right at the end, once we've done this, we'll stay on for about another 5 to 10 minutes and try and answer any other questions that you've got, but not in quite such a structured way. So I hope that actually helps explain what we're going to be trying to do today. We actually now pan over here. We actually have got a lovely beaten up laser. Even Oxford Saving Club who own it would admit it's beaten up. But it's a classic. It's 141,000. It's about 30 years old, and this is a really common problem that actually comes in lasers. Okay, but does happen in quite a lot of other boats. The boat is built in virtually all glass-side boats are built in two halves. So you have a whole mode built separately, and then the deck is a separate mode, and then the two things are joined together in what is called the deck to hull joint, right the way around the entire boat, and they use particularly quite a strong bonding paste, quite often called Cristono is used, but lasers are very prone to having their deck to hull joint break. So I think they come in above, and here is actually over where they sit on their launching trolleys, and that is completely fractured open. And it's a very common thing in lasers. You don't go cheap on a launch trolley. Make sure that your launch trolley, the gunnel hung bits actually fit in this channel properly. When you get out of the water, when you cover the boat, please make sure you lift it into place properly. Avoid sitting on the boat over the gunnel supports, and don't over ratchet the boat when you're actually towing it. Those are the common. Why is it so important? And you can tell we're live at a workshop because we're on the industrial estate, and the next door is turning around in his van. Why is it so important? One, it's structurally important. If you don't tackle this, eventually that could carry on and the boat literally starts breaking apart. But very importantly in this is the boat is going to leak, and it's going to leak badly. Even sailing along the straight line, water's going to shoot up inside here. You capsize, and that's the side that goes under the water, you are going to have a lot of water inside the boat. So it's a really important safety feature to do. So how do we tackle it? So Matt's actually going to come in now. And he's going, we've got a Dremel on which we've got a little cutting wheel. Okay. And again, it does sound like we're in the dentist chair at the moment, but you actually have to remove out of the deck hole joint. You have got to remove all the fragmented bonding paste that is left there. Quite often the bonding paste will just literally crack, and you've got to get rid of it all. And you've got to use carefully, and you're using a cutting wheel, a thin cutting wheel, because you do not want to actually cut into the actual glass fibre layers on either side. Sometimes, and we've had to do it on this boat, we've actually had to, before we did this, we actually had to reinforce this bit with glass fibre, and we did that beforehand. So what do we fix it with? Okay, so we actually have got dispensed into the cup here. We actually have got polyester resin, as the boat was built from. At the moment, it's got an inhibitor that's stopping it going off in air. So we're actually going to add catalyst into it, which removes that inhibitor, so it will now go off. Okay, it's 2% by volume. It doesn't have to be exact, and on small quantities like this, you can see we made no attempt to measure it. If we were doing much bigger quantities, we would weigh it. Okay, to actually try and give that resin even more substance and bulk, we're actually going to add into it glass bubbles. And literally what it sounds like, it is tiny little beads of glass bubbles. And this doesn't necessarily thicken it up that much, but it does actually add even more strength. And it's a way of making a bonding paste without having to buy something very expensive that doesn't last very long on the shelf, as we regularly find out. Okay, so you can still see it's pretty runny. In fact, you do not want to make this too thick, because we're actually going to use a syringe with a thin nose. So we're actually going to, Matt is going to, once that's mixed, we're going to fill this syringe up. The whole point here is that nozzle will fit into that gap we've created, and we will literally inject it in. We want the bonding paste, the new bonding paste, Grant, to actually not just sit on the surface, but actually flow all the way down. And the big thing I should have mentioned, which I've completely forgot, is before you attempt this, make sure you've literally got all the water out from inside the boat. Because once you turn it over, any water inside the boat comes and sits down here, exactly the place where you want, you don't want moisture. Okay. So Matt is just pulling up quite a bit of that mix now. And he's getting a lot. We try to get the nozzle in between in there and inject it in. And as I said, what it will do is flow down, because the bonding paste is actually quite a way down that gunnel. It's not just on the top surface, and that's the big question. Big one. And we even sometimes literally stick a chisel or something into the broken bond to actually force it open.
I'm actually going to just poke it down.
And so that's literally what he's going to do. Because yeah, you don't want the bonding paste just to be on the top couple of millimeters. You actually really want it to flow right the way down for a long-term repair to give it the real strength. And you're probably wanting to get, you know, a good depth in here, which is probably certainly over a centimetre's worth down. In fact, if we can get more in that, even better. And when you've got a long area like this that is fractured open, don't attempt to try and do it all in one go, because in actual fact you won't get it all properly lined up properly. Be prepared to do this in particularly the bad ones. We've had some in here where the decked hull joint is gone for over a metre. And we've probably done that in 3 different stages. We're not going to attempt to try and actually do the whole thing here. And in fact, what we will do is, because in actual fact the holes, the hole in the deck come apart, they've actually slightly offset each other. So we're actually going to use clamps to hold them into place whilst the resin is going off. Okay, so as you can see, and in actual fact, if we come back to that at the moment, it's overflowing over the top, but I guarantee probably came back to that in about 20 minutes to 30 minutes time, that would have sunk down, and which is a really great sign. Okay, if we put this outside now in the direct sunshine, because it's actually lovely and warm outside, that's off in an hour and a half, and we could actually today we could have this boat, because the other side is exactly the same issue. Funny enough, we're doing these demos for 2 days. We're doing the other side tomorrow. we can actually have this boat completely fixed today, which is really great news. If you've got an issue about anything to do with your own boat that you would like some advice on, please send us an email afterwards, westcountryboatrepairs@btinternet.com, and send us a photograph of it, and we will try and give you some advice about how to try and tackle it yourself. If you would like to come on one of our courses, obviously we need a bit of an easing of COVID restrictions, but I can see us in the spring being able to go back to doing one-to-one courses. Please send us a message now or send us an email after the weekend, and we'll gladly try and work you in. Thank you for listening to us. I hope that's been a great help. And if we can help you get back on the water. So come March 29th, a bit later into the year, we can all get back to doing what we're doing the best, enjoy going sailing. Even better, we all might be able to have a cup of tea in the galley afterwards, or even better, have a beer after sailing in the bar. Thank you very much.